talking all night. Welcome to the program. You know this place, out here on the crest of an expanding universe, leaning over the edge of the event horizon, watching all that light as it swirls downwards into a black hole. Everything returning one day to the still point, that place of origin so far back in our universal memory. This is a place of contemplation, of introspection and questioning, an interior place not quite in focus, dreaming the collective unconscious, exhuming lost notes from the underground, confessions from lost journals, revelations dictated onto a cassette tape, but never sent to its intended recipient. These are the fragments of those lost tapes, found abandoned in all manner of places, tapes left behind by movers in unmarked boxes, tapes left on the scrap heap of obsolete media, tapes discarded during the last cleaning of the attic, dumped into the trash. All lost words, distant voices silenced if it were not for our recovery and curiosity. Our empathy with voices still wanting to be heard, voices still negotiating with existence.
The truth of all origin is laid bare in rock and stone. From the beginning, a big bang, always moving to fragments. This is how I want to start this dictation, this letter to you. For the record, it's September 4, 1973 at 1:06 a.m. and I am near Las Campanas Observatory in the Andes Mountains of Chile at 2,300 feet altitude. Like I said, everything always moving to fragments. Even the sacred things tethering us to this temporary space are falling in the perpetual film loop of entropy, smashing into pieces over and over again like so many stones. Ay, pues, claro que tú sabes eso. You know all this. Of course. The second law of thermodynamics. I'm not disputing. It's just that in the chaos there are these extraordinary patterns, increasing order during the disordering. That's what I have discovered. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I should start at the beginning. ¿Recuerdas cuando tú y yo? Do you remember when we used to climb the ridge near the old house so that we could see the stars from above the town? I still associate the stars with scraped knees, that tingling of exposed flesh against the moss and edges of the rock. That was my first clue. That rock and stone is the physical memory of the universe, reaching back nearly 14 billion years, spawning 100 billion stars in each of the 100 billion galaxies. Swirling rocks, gas, and ancient stardust, expanding outward, boundless in relentless fragmentation. Some of the detritus settling into making of this earth, pushing up mountains, carving oceans. It was the rock fight which brought us into existence. Carbon forms are always moving to fragments. Our bones soon fossilized in the rock of stars.
Passing through, had I seen it, the shroud that concealed it still hides the truth. There at the showdown, a gathering crowd, I'd brace for the
report these things? Who could possibly reassemble the stones of the universe? Who could fit them back together? No, reimagine the place from whence they came, that silent, incomprehensible place, the still point of origin. The questions drive us crazy, but let me tell you, the answers will drive us mad. Some might propose that it might be better to say that the sender of fragments, the author of stones, can never be known, so that in our divine innocence we might be content to ramble unconsciously along the stone roads, scramble over rocky shores and skip stones across the water, or pile them high into buildings, never knowing the time before the fragments. But not knowing is the angst of the human condition. It makes us restless. It makes us reach, sometimes too far. It makes children cry into old age and bricklayers wail before their unfinished walls, already crumbling into shards. Even rocks can know tears, exclaims every tombstone. Everything moving to fragments. That was my clue. Don't you see? The oscillation of rock across the universe is its memory. In each fossil, the scar tissue, the twist and shake of every muscle strain, the aspiration of life wanting to tell its story. In every grain of sand, a rock fight of cosmic proportion.
It was a dovey and rapturous dark, a poet whose prose had no letters roll at no part. Out on the planets, stars in my mind, the rock coalesced in the shock of the seas left behind. Oh, steers and stones, memories of a stuck road. It makes rocks of our bones in the morning, in the night, forever. In this rock fight. Forever in the spinning dream. It comes around, all for the sake of just a spinning dream. It comes around, around.
Every day I traverse a pedestrian bridge on the way to work. Alongside the bridge is a stone quarry. And every day I notice the same stoneworker in the distance, struggling up and down a rock pile. Life repeats that way. He pushes a stone upwards on the rock pile only to have it tumble back down to the bottom again. Eternity repeats that way. On this day, another commuter walking past me on the bridge observes my interest in the drama taking place on the rock pile. He mumbles under his breath, Sisyphus. I wonder, does he know this man on the rock pile, this Sisyphus? The repetitive motion of his bones in constant contact with the stone, every strain of each muscle locked in counterbalance to the rock. On this day, I'm suddenly aware of my own life among my fellow commuters, our repetitive pedestrian ritual each morning on the way to work. Occupation repeats that way. It occurs to me that I might break away from my fellow commuters for just a moment, and I make my way down to the quarry. At the edge of the fence, close to the rock pile, I call to Sisyphus. He acknowledges me as I introduce myself between his grunts and bursts of breath as he continues pushing his monstrous stone upwards to the crest. I watch Sisyphus for the better part of an hour, wondering if he anticipates that his rock will only roll back down again, and whether this is a surprise to him each time. It feels uncomfortable to ask him. But Sisyphus tells me that he thinks a lot about stones and shares with me his stories about rocks through antiquity. Stories of Dante and Virgil scaling the rocky obstacles of Mount Purgatory, the long journey of the human spirit to find cures for itself, to become fit to leap into the heavens. Stories of the alchemists, their cultivation of the philosopher's stone, intended to transmute the base metals of the earth into gold, illustrating the power of transformative consciousness. Stories of the ancient druids predicting astronomical events through the precise positioning of massive rock slabs at Stonehenge. Stories of Rodin, the art of the stone sculptures, the stone balancers, the stone carvers, revealing living forms previously dormant and longing to be freed piece by piece from the rock. Stories of the pharaohs building monuments to themselves in triangulation with celestial bodies, pyramids built from great blocks of stone ascending to the stars. Stories of rocks under great pressure, crystallizing and manifesting the color of brilliant gemstones. Stories of the road, great distances paved with stone, mythic journeys forever leading to the horizon. But it was getting late and I had to bid Sisyphus farewell. But before I could do so, I had the nagging urge to ask him if he was content with his occupation, pushing his stone up the rock pile, over and over again. Doing his best to deflect my question, he answered that it would be best for me to imagine that he was happy in his work. For that would be the best way for me to make my way back onto the bridge again with the other commuters. Life just repeats that way. So I had the nagging urge to ask him if he was content with his occupation, pushing his stone up the rock pile, over and over again, pushing his stone up the rock pile, over and over again. Life just repeats that way, just repeats that way. Doing his best to deflect my question, he answered that it would be best for me to imagine that he was happy in his work. For that would be the best way for me to make my way back onto the bridge again with the other commuters. Life just repeats that way.
Sticks and stones, memories of a snow-covered road. It makes rocks of our bones in the morning, in the night, forever. In this rock fight. in the night forever in this rock fight.